Guys, welcome to episode number 2 of the Napoli career mode, and to start off this episode, we made a massive signing in the first episode, spending most of our budget on it, and unfortunately he's already dropped by a rating. He's still got very good stats, of course, and he'll still do the job throughout the season. It's just a bit of a shame that he has gone from an 88 to an 87, same with Dries Mertens going from an 86 to an 85, but nevertheless, we did pick up a bit of an injury to Jorginho, so we're not going to be able to sell him. I probably wouldn't have sold him anyway. But I might be tempted to get rid of one of my central midfielders, whether that's Zielinski or Allen, or maybe even Marco Rog. I won't get as much money for Marco Rog, but he's probably not at the level I need him right now. However, in the end of the last episode, we did get an offer for Milik from Everton. Obviously, they need a new striker, as they did sell Lukaku. And it's a very, very good offer, in fairness, 29 million. But I think we can get 42 at least. Into the bid then for Milik. It's actually Sam Allardyce, so it's kind of cool how they've got new managers into the game. I don't know if they've got David Moyes or not. I will go in, because I don't want to... I kind of do need the money, in fairness. So I'll go with the 42.5. Just get that extra little bit more in. Hopefully, they don't get offended by that. It is actually Sam Allardyce, so he is obviously a man of his word, and he will probably stick to it. They've come back with a 38 million transfer sum. I'm going to remove the release clause, because as we're only doing 1, maybe 2 seasons in this career mode, I just don't see it being that... I don't think anyone's ever done a sell-on clause and actually got anything from it, so it's kind of a pointless thing. Maybe in like a Football Manager where you do like 5 or 6 seasons, you see that profit, but when you're doing a career mode on FIFA, they generally don't last too long, and they are happy to pay 42 million. So I'm pretty happy with that. You can't really complain. It'd be interesting to see if they've got like David Moyes into the game and stuff like that as well. I've only seen Sam Allardyce and one other manager. I can't remember who it was. But anyway, it's kind of a cool feature this year. I know they haven't really put much into that. They've only they could have done so much more with the negotiations bit, where actually the person says a few lines and then they actually say them words. But no, instead it's just this really mundane music and subtitles. Just looking at the transfer hub then, there are a few players here. I think the main thing that I need is probably a winger that could potentially play striker as well. So I've got players such as Shaqiri, Mahrez and Zaha. All of them can play out wide and in the middle. Same with Kandrova would be a nice-ish option. A little bit cheaper as well, wage-wise and overall transfer fee. Pare is there if we do need another central midfielder, but I don't think we need one at the moment. Son again, a winger that can play at striker. Gaitan's probably, I don't know, I think he's a little bit too much for what he is. But then again, his wage is a little bit cheaper than Son's. Perisic again can play striker and out wide. Brahimi, probably not really a striker, but very good at left mid. Same with Laic and same with Mkhitaryan, Lucas, Felipe Anderson and Willian. So we've got plenty of options there, but I'm going to see how much money we get. Transfer offer from Aston Villa for Zuniga. I'm going to try and get 3. But still, 2.35 is actually quite decent for a player that's on just under 50 grand wages, and I don't really need him. I'd probably play him more as a left mid. They're happy with 3.25 for Zuniga. I'm really happy with that. I just feel he's at 31 as well. He's going to go at least down to 71 probably by the end of the season. He's on 12 months left on his contract. I think that's a good deal. There we go, Milik has been sold, an extra 37.5 million added to the transfer budget. Also, we've got a bid here from, I think that's Atletico Bilbao, for Jashirini. A player that I'm not that like, he's 32 years old, so he's going to drop in ratings, there's no doubt about it. We could get up to 12 point, if I offer 13, I wouldn't mind getting rid of him for that. Again, 67 grand wages, like, it's incredible how much these players are paid, and they're not really that good. So I'm going to try and get Rodrigo. The reason I'm going for Rodrigo is because we were going to do a Valencia Crema potentially. It was actually the second most popular team, and he was probably one of the better players at the team. And I think he's a really good price for what he is. If we can pay 20 million for him, and you've got a striker and a right winger all in one. I wouldn't really play him on the left because he is left-footed, but he could do a job there if need be. So we'll try and get him. I will begin negotiations because I think that release clause being double of what his value is just a little bit silly. Good deal here for Muniain. We've offered 16, they've come back with 17. If I negotiate, they probably will accept this. This will be a pretty nice deal indeed. There we go, that's wrapped up. I think that's honestly one of the easiest of negotiations I've done. Very good player indeed. Obviously can play anywhere in behind the striker, so will be quite useful. And actually on super cheap wages as well. He's 79 rated at 24, so he's still got plenty of time to grow. Very good balance, agility, acceleration, dribbling, ball control, and decent finishing as well for a winger. And obviously would be a nice addition to the team with quite a few Spaniards already. And we've also got the scout report here for Vitinho. Would be a decent backup striker, again quite young, so potential to grow. And this guy Ep2, I think he's a little bit too low rated for what I'm looking for. He's very good actually. He's got 85 pace and about 77 dribbling. And obviously at 21 you can grow that quite easily. Whether we can do it in time to get the best out of him throughout the season, we'll have to wait and see. Just wrapping up the deal here for Munai, and it's actually a decent weight. He was originally on 30, but obviously he's going to a bigger club, and I may as well accept it 53. Pretty decent signing on fee as well, only 700,000. It's normally at the millions when you get into like a high rated 79 rated player, but nevertheless, second signing I believe after Cavani coming back to the club, and I think it's a good deal in terms of financially. Like, we've still got 40 million to make another good signing, and we've got basically that backup option we needed at the attacking mid areas. We do need to bring in a striker now though, because we haven't actually got a backup striker, so he could do a job at striker. Like 73 finishing is quite decent. What I could always do is drop a striker, play one striker, and then put another man in the midfield. But I think we'll leave it how it is for the time being. So we've got the deals back for a number of players here. We are saving a bit of money in that Rodrigo deal, but I don't know if I want to pay 30 mil for him. He's a very good player, but I think for 30 mil I could maybe get someone better. Same with Mahrez, 45, just not worth it. Zaha at 40 is ridiculous. Son at 46 is even more insane. And Brahimi, probably acceptable, that is, especially when he's on quite cheap wage. But I think there's better players out there that we could potentially go for. One option is, you see, what I could do is activate the release clause for Adruiz, or try and negotiate, because I could get him for like 12. I know it's another Bilbao player and they are on super cheap wages, but he would be a great option to have. I'm going to try and get Vitinho now. If I can get him for super cheap, then that'd be kind of cool. Or maybe not. Right. Just as a backup striker option, I think he'd be kind of handy. I think he's probably the best. Maybe in Ingles, I think he's quite decent as well. Yeah, there's a few options. If we are a bit strapped for cash at the end, we could always just recall one of our strikers and just make sure we have the depth in the squad. So into the first game against Verona, obviously Zuniga there getting sold on the right hand side. Let's hope we can kick it off with a win with Cavani up front as well. You kind of expect us to win. It is a rivalry, of course, and yeah, let's see how we do. Here's the Verona team then. They are playing a 4-4-2, so I'll be interested to see how they do against our 3-5-2 kind of formation. They have got Cersei and Diego Ferreras up front. I don't think he moved. I'm pretty sure it's on this career mode that they have signed Ferreras from Cagliari. Podence on the right hand side, Martin Cáceres at right back. Pretty decent centre backs, and Romelu in the midfield. It's a decent team, so we should be winning quite nicely. But against a 4-4-2, you never know. On the edge here for Verona, it's into the box. Diego Ferreras with the ball, and he has found the back of the net. They've absolutely dominated us in the first 10 minutes here, Verona. They've had about 3 or 4 corners, and eventually finding the back of the net there with this one. Should have probably been a bit more intelligent there defensively. We just committed too much, and yeah, the former Cagliari man has found the back of the net to make it 1-0 on his debut for the club. Ball over the top, found into the back, and it's in the back of the net. I'm going to tell you at the end of the game what the problem is, but I will try my hardest to win this game, but I will try and explain why they are kind of scoring some ridiculous goals, in fairness. It wasn't the best at defending. Lee Seung-Hoo with the goal. Oh, and it's 3. I can't do anything. There's a reason why I'm finding it so difficult. I can't really explain it at the moment, but they are literally just pinging it around like nothing. And I don't know what I can really do to counter it in a way, but I will explain at the end. But it's 3-0 to Verona. They are playing well, but there's a reason they're playing well. Like when that's going in, I thought that was just not going to be a goal. I might need to. I will explain in a moment. But yeah, this game, really, hasn't been the start I was looking for. 4-0. Nobody expected that, I don't think. But I'll tell you why it was 4-0. And it's a pretty annoying reason because of how bad gameplay is this year on all game modes, in fairness, but especially on career mode. If you play Legendary, you will win every game. However, to make it more difficult, I've had to change the sliders. Now, I've put the sliders to a certain point in the Derby career mode, and they work very nicely. I managed to finish top 4 in the Champions League, so clearly they're not broken. However, on this, because we're playing a 3 at the back, and I don't know, I really struggle. I've also put that up as well. I've put that up to like 61, and I barely get injuries. I know I got one to Mertens in the last game, but that's why. I've got 20 shot error and 2 pass error. And then pass speed at 54, goalkeeper ability 66. There's a lot of things in here which basically, that alone, that one thing there, was the reason we got smashed so hard in that game. Because they had 4-4-2, they basically had 4 players running at our defence, which is only a 3, so it was outnumbered. I don't know what I can do, really. Either I play a 4 at the back formation to prevent that, or I change the sliders, which I don't really want to do, because they're perfect for the Derby career mode. So what do you guys think I should do? Shall I change the sliders? The problem is, it took me so long. It literally took me a good season and a half to actually find, like, the reason I've got like 58 marking and 66 goalkeeper ability is just because to find that sweet spot, basically. And I don't really want to change them for the sake of this series. So in a way, going to a 4 at the back may make more sense. I don't think this formation was going to work anyway, in fairness. I may leave it there, but I might give a 4 at the back in the next game. The only issue is, if we do go back to 4 at the back, we've only got 1 left back at the club and 1 right back. So it would mean we'd have to pay... I wouldn't pay too much, because I think they're good enough to play full back. Maybe a good left back. He's alright, Marco Rui, but maybe someone slightly better. So I'm going to try and get Mikel Antonio. There's a number of reasons why. He can play striker, which is great. He can also play out wide, and he can play at right back. He's got quite decent defending stats at about 50-60, which is acceptable. If I can get him for like 14, then that'd be kind of cool. We do need a pacey striker, and I've got Mertens, but I think another one would be kind of cool. And they have actually got David Moyes in the game. That's another reason why I wanted to do this deal. We will offer a 15, I think. So there we go. They're happy to accept 15.9, which I think for a player that can play in so many different positions is quite decent. However, I will offer... Who was it? There's somebody around the same price tag. Benteke. The only issue is, I don't know if I like Benteke on FIFA. I don't know if I can... Because he's kind of Cavani-esque. He's a big, tall guy that will put the ball in the back of the net. But I feel like I need this more dribbling-based striker. So we still have Adjuiz here, who would be a good option. But it's whether how quickly he will drop in stats. I feel like he'll keep his finishing and ball control and stuff like that. But it's the pace stats, which obviously isn't his strong point. But the stamina as well. But I feel like we can get a season out of him. That's my point. So we're going to begin negotiations. I feel like his release clause is a little bit too much. And I think you can come back to it anyway. So we'll try and get him for 12. I think for an 84 rated player to pay 13 million, I really can't complain with that. And he's going to be on pretty cheap wages as well. And it just makes sense. Into the wage then for Adjuiz. He's only on 37 grand at the moment, but probably will be looking towards the 50 mark. Especially when we've got Champions League football. Into the wage then, I think I'll offer him 40. And about 800k. I think he'd probably accept that, hopefully. There we go, that's a great bit of business. Financially, it just makes sense, because like the alternatives, they're just too expensive, and especially when we're doing only a 1 season career mode, maybe 2. It's more than likely going to be 1 though. I think it makes sense. You've got a player that can head the ball and shoot really well. So I think we're going to wrap up the episode here. I have still got the deal for Antonio open. I want to know from you guys whether we do go forward with Antonio or we go for somebody else. I need that kind of player though. I need somebody who can play out wide and up front. So I don't think I can get Schürrle. I did mention him in the last episode, but the problem is I think he's only just joined Dortmund. Or was that the season before? It was the season before Luke. I did just sign him in the Derby career mode, so that's kind of putting me off, but he is a great little player to have. And if we could pick him up for a similar price as Antonio, it would probably make sense. So I'll leave him there for the time being, and I'll get your guys' feedback. So yeah, I just need probably a winger at this point, maybe a fullback as well. I think somebody who could play left back and right back would be kind of cool. I think, who is it? Is it Tonelli? Maybe not. I thought one of the centre backs could play right back as well, but they could do a job there. I don't see why Tonelli couldn't play right back. He's got decent pace and obviously good defending stats. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this episode of the Napoli career mode. I probably need a few suggestions of a winger that can also play striker, such as Schürrle and Antonio, and I think a fullback. Somebody who could play left back and right back would be great. And we've got, how much money have we got? Because that's the great thing about that Adriz deal. We've still got enough money to make 2 good signings. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this episode. The squad's coming together quite nicely. It's quite an old squad. I don't mind picking up some older players in this career mode, as we are only doing 1 or 2 seasons. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this episode. Leave a like if you did enjoy, and see you soon. Bye.